Welcome back to the deep dive. If you've ever felt just completely swamped by information, trying to make even a simple choice,
Oh, absolutely.
well, imagine doing that in 17th century England. You've got plague, civil war, massive upheaval, and definitely no Google.
Right. Zero instant answers.
So today, we're looking at maybe the ultimate 17th century knowledge management system. Not from Silicon Valley. This is a huge book printed back in 1647. William Lilly's Christian Astrology.
Yeah, it's really something. We're basically talking about the information superhighway for London in the mid-1600s. Lilly saw all this predictive knowledge scattered everywhere,
Across languages, centuries.
Exactly. Persian, Greek, Latin astrologers like Ptolemy, Almanzar. His big goal, his mission, was to pull it all together, to codify it, translate it, make sense of the conflicts.
And make it actually usable for someone reading English.
That was the revolutionary part. He
Right.
wanted this sophisticated art to be accessible.
And usable is almost an understatement, isn't it? The sheer scope is, well, it's kind of mind-blowing. This isn't just your daily horoscope.
Not even close. The system was built to tackle pretty much any question you could throw at it, big or small.
Like predicting the outcome of a war.
Yep. Or figuring out where your stolen spoons went. Lilly structured it all. Nativities, so birth charts, directions, revolutions, and this crucial thing called horary astrology.
Which is about answering specific questions asked at a specific moment.
Precisely. Is this person pregnant? Will the royalists win this battle? Where's my lost horse? He offered a fixed method to get answers, to get some certainty in, let's face it, a very uncertain time. That was his real value add.
Okay, so who was this guy, William Lilly? The man bold enough to try and systematize, well, everything. His own story is pretty interesting.
It really is. A classic self-made man in many ways.
Yeah.
Born 1602, Leicestershire. He was actually supposed to go to Cambridge.
Oh, so he had a traditional scholarly path planned.
That was the plan, yeah. But finances got in the way. His father, as Lilly put it, decayed his estate so much that university was off the table.
So what happened?
He ends up in London around 1620, working as a servant for a man named Gilbert Wright. Pretty humble beginnings for someone who'd become so influential.
And he didn't even start studying astrology until later, right? Like 1632.
That's right. He picked it up himself, studied the science on his own, and his rise was, well, pretty fast.
He wasn't shy about it either, claiming by age 46 he'd made more scholars in this profession than all that professed this art in England.
Yeah, talk about confidence. But it speaks to his impact. And think about it, a self-taught guy achieving that kind of authority in a really old, established field.
How did he pull that off? Is it just the book?
The book was huge, but it was how he approached it. He said he refused the methods of all former authors. He framed it de novio.
Meaning newly.
Exactly. He took all that ancient, often confusing stuff, cleaned it up, got rid of contradictions, and basically wrote a clear, step-by-step instruction manual for his time, for English speakers.
Okay, but being revolutionary doesn't always win you friends, especially not in 17th century England with a civil war brewing. He must have needed some protection, some connections.
Oh, absolutely. Patronage was key. The big turning point came in 1643. A good lady, he says, introduced him to Bulstrode Whitelocke.
A counselor at law. So, someone with actual power.
A big deal, yeah. Lilly basically said Whitelocke's support, his alone generosity and countenance, was the main reason astrology got its credibility back in England. He even called Whitelocke its restorer.
So patronage bought him legitimacy, and he definitely needed it getting involved in the Civil War predictions. That's tricky territory.
Extremely tricky. He had to walk a fine line. Personally, he said he ever loved monarchy, but he also believed strongly in Parliament's rights, thinking the monarchy couldn't survive without them.
So he leaned parliamentarian.
In practice, yes. While he might have respected the king as a person, his astrological work, his consultations, they heavily supported the parliamentarian cause. He was giving them intelligence, essentially, strategic advice based on the stars. He reported impartially on the sources, but his application had a side.
Okay, let's dig into the actual toolkit. How did this system work on a practical level? To get any kind of judgment, you needed this figure of heaven.
That's the starting point. You absolutely had to erect a figure. Think of it like casting a snapshot of the heavens for a specific moment and place.
You needed tools for that.
Two main things. First, an ephemeris, which is basically just a big table showing where all the planets are day by day for a given year, like celestial coordinates.
Okay, like longitude and latitude for the planets.
Sort of, yeah. And second, you needed a table of houses, This took those universal planet positions and mapped them onto the specific location, the specific time the question was asked or the person was born. It localized the cosmos, you could say.
And that localized map is divided into 12 houses.
Correct, 12 segments. And Lilly's claim was bold. Nothing appertaining to the life of man is exempt. Everything fits into one of these 12 boxes.
Give us some examples.
Yeah.
The first house, the ascendant.
That's you, the person asking or the person born, your appearance, your head, face, general constitution. It's got co-rulers, too, like the sign Aries and the planet Saturn.
Okay, that seems straightforward, but then they get more complex, right? Like the fifth house.
Right. The fifth rules children, yes, but also things like parties, banquets, theater, gambling, even your father's financial state. It's about pleasure, creativity, offspring, speculation.
And the ninth house. I remember that one covers a lot, too.
It does. It's the house of long distances. So long journeys, obviously, but also religion, clergy, higher learning, books, philosophy, anything that expands your horizons, physically or mentally.
Then the 10th, the midheaven. That's about status.
Status, authority, career, kings, judges, bosses, your profession, your reputation. Interestingly, also mothers, it's your public standing.
Which brings us to the 12th house. This one always seems like a collection of, well, bad stuff.
Aha! It often gets called the house of self-undoing. It covers hidden enemies, secrets, sorrows, imprisonment, illness that confines you.
And witches. And large animals.
Witches, yes. And great cattle horses, oxen. It seems odd, but think about it.
Okay, I'm trying. Why cattle?
The 12th rules things that are hidden, confined, burdensome, or that you don't fully control. Private enemies fit. Imprisonment is literal confinement. And in the 17th century, large animals were a huge expense, a burden, needed to be penned up or stabled confined, and could represent significant loss or trouble.
Ah, okay. Hidden burdens, things that constrain you. It makes a weird kind of sense when you put it like that.
There's an internal logic, yeah. Now, these houses weren't all created equal. There was a definite power structure.
A hierarchy. Which must have been useful, right? Knowing how important something was.
Absolutely essential for judgment. Lilly lays it out clearly. The angles, that's the 1st, 10th, 7th, and 4th houses, are most powerful. They're the corners of the chart, representing immediate impact and action.
Okay, top tier. What's next?
The succeedants. Houses 11, 2, 8, and 5. They succeed, or follow the angles. Next in virtue, Lilly says. They represent resources, stability, things that support the main action.
And the last group?
Those are the cadence. Houses 3, 12, 9, and 6. They are poor and of little efficacy. They fall away from the angles. Their influence is weaker, delayed, less impactful on the main question.
So just knowing which house held a key planet told you a lot about the situation's strength or urgency.
Instantly, yeah. It gave you a framework for evaluating potential.
And the planets themselves, they had distinct personalities too, didn't they? Like Saturn versus the Sun.
Oh, completely. Each planet had a nature. Saturn, for instance, is cold and dry. He's slow, takes about 29 years to orbit the Sun.
And signifies what kinds of things?
Old age, decrepit old men, isolation, restriction. Think ruins, deserts, mines, lead. Things that are heavy, slow, restrictive, or decayed. The principle of limitation.
Okay, kind of grim. What about the Sun?
The opposite, hot and dry, rules vitality, authority, kings, princes, magistrates, gold. In terms of age, the Sun represents youth, peak strength when one is at the strongest. Radiance, power, ego.
So the planet involved immediately colored the interpretation. Its nature, its speed, its house position, layers upon layers.
Exactly. It's a complex matrix, but he laid out the rules very clearly.
Let's get into some of those really specific judgments, because that's where you see the system trying to be almost like a forensic tool.
It really is, almost like a 17th century CSI manual sometimes.
Right, like predicting moles or scars on someone's body. You mentioned there was a super specific rule for that.
Incredibly specific. It's a great example of the detail. Okay,
Yeah.
So first, the part of the body with the mark is shown by the sign on the ascendant, the first house cusp.
So if Aries is rising, the mark is on the head or face.
Precisely. Second, the exact location on that body part, like high on the head, middle of the face, near the chin, depends on the degree of the sign rising. Early degrees mean the upper part, middle degrees the middle, late degrees the lower part.
Wow. Okay, so 2 degrees of Aries rising means high on the head. 28 degrees means down near the chin or neck.
You got it. And third is the mark visible, like on the front, or hidden, like on the back or inside a limb. That depends on whether the planet signifying the mark is above the Earth, meaning visible in the sky in the chart, or under the Earth.
That is remarkably detailed, almost unbelievably so.
It is. Whether it worked is another question, but the systemization, the attempt to map identity onto the cosmos in such fine detail is what's fascinating.
Okay, let's switch to something maybe more common.
Yeah.
Theft. How did Lilly's system handle finding a thief or stolen goods? Another set of rules.
Yes, a whole procedure. First, identifying the thief. The main indicators were the seventh house, the house of open enemies, or the other person, its ruling planet, and crucially, any peregrine planet in an angle.
Peregrine, what's that mean?
A peregrine planet is one that has no essential dignity in its current position. It's like it's wandering, untethered, lacking inherent strength or status.
Ah, so it represents someone unreliable, an outsider maybe.
Right.
Makes sense for a thief.
Exactly, an unstable element. And the chart could even suggest the thief's age. Like if the sun was placed between the ascendant and the midheaven, Lilly said that pointed towards a child being the thief.
Okay, so you might have an idea who it is. How do you find the stuff they took?
Location is primarily the fourth house, the house of the end of the matter, the home, hidden things.
And the details, like where the goods are hidden.
You'd look at the moon sign for descriptive clues about the place. For example, if the moon was in a fixed sign, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, Lilly might say the house or room where the goods are has only one door.
Versus a movable sign.
Right. Movable signs Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn might suggest the door is high above the earth, maybe indicating an upper floor or a high entry point. It gave very specific, almost visual clues.
And calculating how far away the goods were. That sounds like astrological GPS.
Kind of. There were rules for estimating distance based on planetary positions and signs. For instance, one rule was if the Lord of the Ascendant was in a fixed sign, you'd give 4 miles for every sign between that planet and the ascendant itself.
So you count the signs between them and multiply by 4 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible. Turning sky math into earthly distance.
It was an attempt to make the abstract concrete, to provide actionable directions.
And this wasn't just for domestic squabbles over stolen goods.
No.
Lilly applied this exact same logic to huge national events, like the Siege of Reading during the Civil War.
Yes, 1644. That's a classic example he uses. He cast a chart for the situation. He assigned Mars to represent the parliamentarian general, Essex.
Okay, Mars makes sense for a general.
And Saturn for the royalist governor, Aston.
Yeah.
Then he analyzed the relationship between them in the chart.
And what did he predict?
He judged that the town would surrender through negotiation. Composition rather than blood, he called it. Not a bloody battle to the end.
And did he offer strategic advice based on this?
He did. He advised the parliamentarians to try and sow division amongst the principal officers on the royalist side. Basically, use psychological tactics based on the chart.
And what happened historically?
Well, according to Lilly, and historical accounts bear this out, generally the town did begin negotiations for surrender just 8 days after he set the figure.
Wow. So, for the people involved, the system delivered. It gave timely, actionable intelligence that seemed to work.
That was the perception, absolutely. It boosted his reputation immensely.
Finally, the system wasn't just about crises. It also gave guidance on personal prospects, like wealth or travel.
Yes, general life guidance, too. To figure out if someone was likely to be rich or in a capacity of subsistence, you'd look at the moon, primarily, and the fortunes Jupiter and Venus.
The good planets.
Right. Were they moving quickly? Were they well-placed in strong houses? If yes, then prospects looked good. A strong, swift Jupiter was a great sign for wealth.
And for advice on, say, where to travel or focus your efforts.
You'd look at which quarter of heaven, basically which quadrant of the chart held the most promising planets, like Jupiter or Venus. Lilly advised, to that quarter, direct your affairs. The chart could literally point you in the right direction, geographically or strategically.
It really is an astonishingly complete system, a dense, intricate synthesis of centuries of learning.
Christian astrology wasn't just a book, it was, like you said, a database. A codified method for finding certainty, or at least the feeling of certainty, in a world that felt incredibly chaotic and dangerous.
It's a powerful reminder, isn't it, that humans have always craved systems to manage information and predict outcomes, especially when things feel out of control. Lilly essentially built this quantified worldview to navigate the variables of life.
Yeah, turning anxiety into something structured, something you could analyze. Even if the method seems strange to us now, the goal feels very modern, trying to get actionable data from the noise.
So thinking about that, Lilly had this interesting final bit of advice for astrologers doing this work. He said you should never judge a question if the ascendant that rising degree was in the very first few degrees or the very last few degrees of a sign.
Right. There was a specific reason for that. If it was in the first degrees, say 0 to 3 degrees, he said, the matter is not yet ripe for judgment. It's too early. Things haven't crystallized yet.
Okay, premature. And if it was in the last degrees, like 27 to 30?
Then the matter is elapsed. It's basically over. The critical moment has passed, and you can't really influence or clearly see the outcome anymore. It's too late.
So you're caught in this limbo, either too early or too late to make a definitive call.
Exactly. A window where judgment wasn't advised.
So here's something to think about. Lilly had this incredibly comprehensive system for his time. But consider today, with all our data, our analytics, instant information, what simple modern problems do you still run into where you just feel that the moment isn't quite right? Where it feels either not yet ripe for a decision or somehow already elapsed, leaving you stuck, unable to really judge the outcome clearly, something to ponder next time you hesitate.